Okay, hello. My name's Jarek, I'm the Archon Studio CEO, and welcome to my, I think it's twice a month AMA, when I ask you questions, and as always, I have some presentation prepared for you, just to go through a few slides and a few updates about our projects. So it's Friday. I hope you had a great week. Mine was awful. Lots of things is happening. So we got construction happening for the new factory and such, and so everything is actually getting there, but quite slowly and not as smooth like you would expect it will go, but as always. Anyway, I prepared some updates for you. I have prepared updates for encounters, not encounters, the Deuslair. Sorry, encounters was long time shipped and kind of forget about that. And I do have also stuff for caves. So something which is coming up, I think towards the end of the year. So we actually got some 3D elements sculpted already by our sculpting team, by Maciej. The only draft, I'll be showing you those things. And I think personally this is going to be extremely good looking brain piece. Because we're going into like organic way of looking at it and such. So yeah, I'll show you, will understand what I mean. But I see some questions here. Yeah, that's true. Hello, have you seen the pictures from and videos from Spanish tournament of MOTU Battleground? I have seen them. I have seen them on Facebook. It was looking really good. What struck me is basically when you look at how the tables look, that's what I like about a war game, or skirmish games, when you have table by table and you know everything is like kind of in the box, so as it is with our game. And they look very good, and everything was actually looking quite nice. I've seen some data, so very interesting to see what you guys going to do with a new wave, because new wave is coming quite soon. We are introducing some vehicles, and then following Essen will be some probably new faction. So stay tuned, but it's great to see the game is actually growing. There's more and more tournaments happening, but not everybody is actually sharing pictures yet on Facebook. I will try to encourage them to actually start sharing the some pictures. But yeah, what is the most important aspect? What we would like to gain from those tournaments, it's the feedback based on the balance, whether any aspect of the game require balancing, because thus far we've been doing, I think, quite well, because we are at the 6th wave, and really there is no anything which breaks the game. At least we haven't seen it, or we haven't heard about it, and it would be great to get any type of feedback, even if the feedback says, oh, it's all fine, and at the moment is everything okay, and doesn't require any balancing. So that would be great to know from you guys, from people who are actually running tournaments and play in the tournaments. Okay? Yeah. I played last couple of weeks actually, Diablo, just for, you know, okay, I'm lying myself. It wasn't just for the teardown exercise. It was basically for playing and enjoying Diablo. But yeah, we've seen some concepts might be a little bit influenced by Diablo for the case. Yeah, went to the store, assembled minis, and that's about it. We drink a couple beverages, we talk a lot, and it was actually great. But I've got those minis now assembled, and actually been assembling miniatures entire week. After work, just a couple of hours just to chill a little bit. I got now pile of miniatures assembled and ready for painting. So I think I need to get my own brushes. I don't want to use store brushes. So the only one thing which I ordered now and is waiting for delivery is those things. And probably next session is next week, so I'm definitely gonna go there. I will share some pictures. Obviously, well, I will share only only if they're gonna be good. I don't want to get myself embarrassed. So I remember a while ago something was mentioned about potential collaboration or something with Heroes of Might and Magic Orchestra. Is there any info about this? Well, yes. I know Jakub is working with them. I know there's something we had in mind and planned. It's more about the music for the game and playing the game when the music is actually just playing. I don't know what level is actually this thing is at the moment, because obviously, you know, this is all about the IP. It's all about the legal stuff and everything around it. So yeah, but yeah, we're thinking about a kind of app which allows you to play sounds from the game, maybe maybe play music and such from music from the Heroes orchestra. I think it's ongoing, so we haven't said no whatsoever. But I need a proper feedback on that one. Maybe Jakub, if you in the comments write something up where we are with it, maybe something which doesn't break NDAs. Yeah, send us some info and we will post on Facebook just to get more people into it. I know there's a huge community in Germany. There is. I'm saying this basically by sales numbers, because we have extremely large sales numbers in Germany. We were not expecting that, to be honest, and oversell our sales target, but it seems to be quite strong in Germany. So yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, my broken English only. But if you have some question in Polish, just drop the line and no problem, I will answer. Would like to see some Heroes of Might and Magic cards. Curious about the stats and abilities. At this moment, we're not sharing any documents. Only, I think, the rules. It will be part of one of the updates, definitely, to share with you all the content as we did with the previous one. But before we do that, we have to make sure that everything is triple checked and everything is okay and such. I mean, in fact, just last week, the team was going back and forth with all the materials because we found some things we needed to correct, and only graphical ones like arts, not the correct arts being used or as such. So, you know, it's very, very long and painful process to get it right. And we need to make it right. I mean, I think we make one mistake as well, and the backers noted that when we shared rules, one of the arts wasn't completed or there was something issue. So yeah, we don't want to have the same situation. But I think towards the end of the project, before shipping, we will be able to share more materials from the game. Also, we have to be careful with that. I mean, it maybe sounds funny, but I remember reading article from Asmodee CEO when he mentioned that almost 40% of the board games are counterfeit. So on the market, it's a huge number. It's a large number. So and I'll tell you some story which is totally bizarre. We had a game which was called Load, and at some point we received email from one of the customers, and he plays he opened ticket with us because one of the cards was damaged, and it was all good, you know, all fine. But strangely enough, the game was actually in Korean, and we never made Korean language. So it was like, where did you get that Korean version of the game? Because we never made it, right? We had some plans, but there was not enough backers to actually translate it to Korean. But how you get a Korean translation game and such. So it was odd. It was completely odd, out of the blue. And we obviously we sent them English replacement, but we didn't have no whatsoever the Korean one, and he never actually give us any answer how he acquired the Korean version. They just got it from their version of you know, of the eBay, but it was really, really strange, absolutely strange. Yeah, so going back to that one, sharing materials is not always the good way, because, you know, somebody might use it. Yes, as you might know, we have huge plans for Heroes, so I want a team to work on those things, on video kind of manuals or playthroughs, which, you know, will allow people to actually watch the video and learn the game, how to play the game. So especially in Polish and especially English, something on the list. Yep. Again. Oh yeah, so here we have the answer. Jakub just answered that Introducion Heroes Orchestra will come to us with some updates about the app we are considering together. So stay tuned. Maybe we're gonna have some good news. Maybe we're going to have some good news for you. Obviously, we will definitely post that on a Kickstarter updates. And I think this app needs to be free. I think because there was like meant to be fully royalty free, but don't quote me on that one. We have to wait to see, okay? Oh, but Jakub just confirmed that art double checking has been finished. Thank you, Jakub. I know you mentioned this one to me yesterday, but as you know, this week was amazing. So I didn't record everything this week. Like living in the void, like completely living in the void for this week. So that's the beauty of running the business, and yeah, when you have to deal with many things at the same time. Yeah, so it was double checked. So I would just suggest go one more time. Yes, the original one we had it in mind wasn't accepted by Ubisoft. So we're basically working on a brand new one. So the brand new design is Vivienne. She is working on it. Hope to have it for you in the next couple of weeks. We've got time anyway. So in terms of production, at the moment we have been told that yeah, it's at the moment is everything fine in terms of scheduling. So we should be getting everything on a boat towards the end of the year. So that's good. That's good. And we did a bit ahead with other translations because all the translations happening at the same time instead of what we said to you in a Kickstarter that we will have only first languages and then there is 4 languages and then another languages which we're going to have in unlock. So we might, again, don't quote me on that one, at some point we might actually give you a good news about other languages, like Swedish language, for instance. We might have on time. Not on time, we might have actually 6 months earlier than we anticipated. Yes, that's correct. I got a story about that. I was in a Chinese factory a couple of years back. And I was going through that factory and they had lots of different type of production. And there was a Carcassonne production going on one line, like box after box after box after box. And I asked the guy, I wasn't aware that you actually have this license or you making this production of Carcassonne. And he said to me, no, this is not, it's not there. Let's move on. I was like, what do you mean it's not there? Okay, I'm not going to be asking questions, but it seems to like the Carcassonne because the wasn't licensed, let's say. So we haven't made business with that company at all because if you go to business, you know, logically, if you go to the company, see something like that company is doing, you expect exactly the same problem. I mean, I did notify even Simon and Awakened because at some point I was just scrolling through eBay looking for some miniatures and I found one account which was selling tons of miniatures from their board games, from Simon board games, from Awakening board games, and the number of miniatures were going to thousands of numbers, and clearly they were just left over from the factory, right? Something, somebody from the and this shouldn't be happening, but it is happening. So I sent that link to Simon CEO. I had a chat with Marcin about it as well from Awakened Limbs. I told them that you guys get to the bottom of it because somebody's doing that. So logically, if somebody's selling the miniatures, somebody might be selling your games as well. That's what it is. That's what it is actually with the production abroad. Now, how are we going to tackle this? The requirement we have from Ubisoft is to put a void the hologram sticker on the back of each of the boxes. So that's new, but we're gonna be doing it for every single box. So once you receive your box, you will have this hologram sticker, and then if at some point somebody will have problem with product and such and whatever, and that hologram sticker won't be there, we're definitely going to be asking questions. But I'm very, very confident about current manufacturer, and yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen with them at all, with all those things. Yeah, have a look on eBay. I think that account wasn't removed, or maybe it was. They keep opening new accounts because they have so many thousands of miniatures for sale, and they've been selling. If the account made, it's got feedback from 50,000 different sales and sales. It means people were buying those miniatures, and not in a small quantities. They must be pushing out of the, after the shed, thousands of those miniatures. Is it okay? Absolutely not. It's something which I would never even say good words about it. Ask many times, but never good answer. Is there a possibility of transparent material for Crystal Dragon Mini or Heroes Manage? No, unfortunately, no. Let me explain why. If you were to do, if you look how the miniatures are manufactured in China or basically in PVC, so you have a large mold. On that mold, you have like 6-7 different miniatures or elements for those miniatures, and somebody actually assembled the miniatures for us. So if we want to make a individual model in individual color, like in this situation from Crystal Dragon, and needs to be made from the clear transparent material, it would have to be separate mold just for that, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to make it, or they will have to overproduce other elements and throw them away, and which will cost really a lot. Now, we haven't budgeted for that. We haven't budgeted Crystal Dragon to be in transparent material, nor the cost will be there, because it will be just one miniature, so they will be charging premium for that. Like, in China, we charge you premium for that miniature. So we haven't budgeted this one, and it is a good idea, but unfortunately, we were not pushing on that one. We're very strict with this project. We're extremely strict with budget, really strict. We're not going over some crazy stuff. We have some surprises for you, that's for sure. But nothing more crazy than that. And we have to be, because it's too large project to be, out of the budget. That's good. I've got the update. So actually today I've been notified by production. Everything is shipped. So everything, all the rapid shipping is shipped. So we are like 15 days before the schedule. But I will go there in a sec. Yeah, the dark blue doesn't look good on the miniatures. The dark blue, there is a dragon there, which is like kind of lighter blue. The darker you go with the miniatures, right? The tail is actually fading away from that miniatures, and especially on the pictures and visually. So you have to keep within that spectrum of the colors, which are quite good for for visual appearance. A good visual appearance, right? At the end of the day, it's a product, so it needs to look nice. Now, the worst miniatures are white. If you have a white color miniatures, you won't see no details on those miniatures at all. We have our dragons over there, which we actually changed the color of our material as well. So we went from this material, which is very like grayish, right? So that material. And one of the reasons is basically this looks much better on the pictures and also on the camera when I hold and show you on details. So, and also when you look at this miniature, initially before you paint it, you don't see those details. You might think, oh, come on, this is not the quality which is on the market currently, right? And it's only because the light, how the light works and how the shade goes on this miniature, which doesn't show that very well. So this middle material between this and that is our darkest one. It's perfect in my opinion. It's perfect. And we've made this material a color accidentally, absolutely accidentally. It was like mixing two materials on the production, and one of the sprue came out like that, and the engineer just left the sprue on his desk, just out of the blue, just needed that one sprue as the master sprue, and I just grabbed it and said, oh, it's actually amazing material, actually quite good color, so we decided to go for it. Right, I have some stuff for you to show. Yes, so the Polish shipping is December. We plan to ship Polish in the beginning of December. Yeah, as per our updates so far, okay? Right. Okay. So yeah, button works. I will come back to the questions in a minute, right? I just want to show you some things and few slides. And we have also some questions which I would like to answer from Discord. So, will we see options to get Warlock Altar, Goo Caves, and Dwarven Mines as add-ons to the Cave Kickstarter? We haven't thought about that yet. We will see how much we will have with this Kickstarter. See, the problem sometimes we have is that our Kickstarter are too large. And if you make too large Kickstarter, too big Kickstarter with the content, what we find out is sometimes it's too much. So it causes people not to be interested because it's so much stuff. I don't need that much stuff. But then in the same time, I want everything. But I don't need everything because of the content is so big. So I would rather think about those things to add not during Kickstarter, but maybe add them later in the pledge manager. Because this will allow us to focus mainly on the Kickstarter portion or GameFound portion. I don't know on which platform we're going to be running that. Yeah, a portion of that specific project instead of adding the same stuff at the same time. But everything is open to discussion within the team. We need to make sure that we hit the targets, so the team definitely will come up with some solutions to making sure the target is there. Dungeon lasers. Will the caves and pillars have clear plastic options to mix with the ice, lava, etc.? How about expansions to turn your caves into a mine, since the full-walled Dwarven mine is retired and doesn't have the organic approach? Couple things about this. We are Krzysztof, who is the lead designer for this project, come up with some idea how to connect this a non-organic shape from previous Kickstarters to the organic shape of caves. So we will have like a connector bit allowing to do so. So we have nice smooth transition between both. That's good stuff. Now going back to your first question, we have some idea about clear plastic. At the moment, it's just the ideas, but nothing is there yet in stone. So stay tuned, and I will let you know. We will let you know towards before the campaign starts. Now, the landing page will be available soon, so you will be able to sign up for a newsletter and information about the project. So that would be one of the ways to know more about it and about the ideas we have. Now I know about pillars, the stone pillars, and this is coming from one of the sculptors, Konrad, who had some idea about that pillar that you can actually place it upside down and it will work normal position. You can split it apart to have two of them. So that would be a good idea to actually, because of the content of that is not going to be small, it's going to be a lot of elements. Maybe we could make them as well in clear plastic. Yeah. But I think Krzysztof was also mentioning something about the eyes, cave-ins. We'll see. Can we have some news about Titanoma key? Not with this update. Stay tuned, but I wanted to focus this update only about the Deuslair really and verbally about Homm. If you have some questions, keep them coming, and as well about the caves. But stay tuned. That caves and encounters will be. What caves encounters will be? Oh, if you mean about the monsters you will be able to encounter, we do have bosses and minions. At the moment, what we were talking about was to have goblins, one of the set of goblins, like a goblin king and his retinue. That would be one. Second one, definitely something about demons, because one of the set is demonic set. The third one is something which I really want, but I don't know whether we're not going to be going completely over the budget, is to have a spiders with spider mama and something like, you know, quite common. So we're not gonna be doing anything crazy, if you know what I mean. So much more yeah, calm down. And we have a look at the dragon tool to whip. I do have some whips. I will show you. I've just made it specially for you. One second, I have those slides for you. As a repeat question from the backers is, can we see all your minis? What are the chances that our website hosting a gallery of the minis? Would be either by taking a photo of every mini and posting a picture, or getting a painted version of the minis from the community. Okay, we are working on a new page, completely new page. At the moment, our page is okay for what it needs, but it's got a separate store, and that store it's not working for us, only because we run this one based off Presta store, and Presta is not as that flexible as we would like to for our products. So this means I cannot have zoom in detail elements and such, or 360s, and probably yes, if we go deep into buying some additional bits and bobs for it. But the team is actively working on a new page. We just signed a contract with the other company. They've been here twice already. It's a very experienced company in actually e-commerce, so we're expecting this page to be very good. And then yes, one of the elements will be adding community stuff, adding very high resolution pictures, zoom in, zoom out, 360 and such. That will allow us to actually show the product as it is and as it should be. So think about it. We are aiming at, you know, Games Workshop page. So if you go on a Games Workshop page, what you see is basically you see products, and you can then maneuver and go deeper into blog with the Warhammer community and such. But if you go into the product, you see how the sprue looks. You see, you know, painted miniatures and 360. So that will be there. We could see progress on super stretch goals. I have that one as well. One sec, I've got two pictures to show you. It would be possible to add 2 bases of 75mm just in case we want to put a runic golem in a large base. The 50mm base for them are, well, a bit ridiculous. Yes, if we have room on the sprues. We haven't designed all the sprues. We have a list of things I would like to add it into those rooms, to the sprues, which, yeah, if there is a room. And we could potentially add one or two bases, 75mm bases, if there is room. Again, we really strict on the projects, making sure that they are done within the top of the budget, okay? But if there is room, we will add it in. Can you talk about the process of gaining Heroes Might Magic 3 IP from Ubisoft? Where are any challenges or roadblocks? Oh, many. I have hopefully at Archon can take projects like Homm in the future in-house instead of using China. So this is a very good question. Thank you very much, and I will answer this question. I wanted to show you two whips. So the no whips. Actually, this is Kraken, and that's the other model. Yasko. So let me go back to this very, I think, important question, and I could even talk half an hour about that question. So can you talk about the process of gaining Heroes of Might and Magic 3 IP from Ubisoft? It was very difficult, extremely difficult, because we couldn't get in touch with anyone at Ubisoft, and that's the true story. Actually, we had some help from somebody else because before that we've made a Wolfenstein, so we know people from Wolfenstein IPs, and you know those people know each other. So people from other companies, they know each other from let's say IP departments, right? So we were extremely lucky that we had very good relationships with that team at Bethesda that actually help us to connect with Ubisoft, and that's the true story. Normally it's very difficult to get any licenses, to be honest. I mean, most of the cases when you send out just the queries about the license and such, you never get any reply, or maybe a reply will come to you later, and they won't take you seriously till you actually meet them face to face. And there are several places you can meet people face to face. But again, if you want to see people face to face, you really have to have some portfolio to start with. So if you don't have a portfolio, if you don't have a stand to show, there are some great trade shows in Germany, which we actually went to one of the trade shows this year in Germany just to actually have a stand with the products. And there was a tons of retailers coming through, but also licensing people. You can make licensing people, and be honest, if you want to be serious about making product for any company under the license, if your portfolio is zero and you don't have no experience, they will just avoid you, because it's more hassle. You have to understand processes, how everything works. You have to understand legal lines. You have to understand the way how every single licensor operates exactly the same way. So you cannot damage the IP at all. You have to pour a lot of money into marketing and such. I mean, you have to prove it that you actually spend that money on the marketing. Let's say the project scale, the level of projects of Heroes required at least $100,000 just in the marketing itself. So this is how much money you have to put into marketing, and not to mention the license itself. And there is a reason for that, because you may get a license and the license will want to do good, and this might affect globally the company. So there's always example I keep saying to my team is, imagine now that a company makes a product, right, under license, and they make this product somewhere like in China, but not in a checked company. So in the company who hasn't signed paperwork, doesn't have a proper paperwork about the workforce and such. And now imagine that a product which is on license is made in China, but by prisoners, right? They're using prisoners force, or by the underage workforce, like a kids, something like that. And nobody's going to be asking questions about who is making this product. Not the licensee will be in trouble. The licensor, the owner of the license, will be in a huge trouble. So now imagine the multi-billion company, suddenly big media just show those pictures of prisoners assembling miniatures, models, or whatever, and how this will affect the stock of those company. The stock will just go couple percentages down or few percentages down, which will be equating hundred of millions of dollars, and God knows how they will have to get this reputation right back. So really, there's so many things, so many boxes you have to tick. It's unbelievable. Now, I'm currently working with the other licensor, not Ubisoft, the huge one for me. And to get there was taking us several years, and the reason why we needed to tick all the boxes. And the moment they were start talking with us was when we said that, look, all the production is going to be made in Poland. We're not going to be touching anything in China. We're not planning to make anything there. Everything is going to be in Europe under full control and such. And that was the key moment when they said, okay, fine, if this is made in Poland, that's great. We can actually move to the next stage. So really acquiring the licenses is not that easy. I mean, you may see some other companies getting it, great. Many companies will get those IPs. Some of the companies doesn't even know how to work with the IPs. It's really, really difficult. It's not easy, difficult, because you have to have the right people in the business who understand that the work they do, sometimes they will have to do it from scratch again. And not many people like this. Not many people are like IPs, working the IPs, because imagine the sculptor working on a sculpt, and then suddenly you send this one to approval, and that is not approved, and you have to do something, I don't know, from scratch, corrections, and so on, so on, so on. It's a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So that generates costs for you, for your business, are huge cost. Sometimes some models, you fixing like 3-4 times, and then fixing model 3-4 times end up with not making additional or more models. So you pay 2 or 3 times for the same stuff. So it's really difficult to work with license. Some of the licenses are great. Some of the licenses we work with, they are there just because we really love the IPs. Now, Heroes is one of the licenses which we had people in team which extremely, love that IP. The other IP I haven't mentioned yet, wasn't even announced yet. This is something I extremely love. This is my stuff. So that was the challenges we need to overcome. Financially, you may think that every single person, any single person who goes on a Kickstarter see the number, right? You see, oh my goodness, this is huge number of you just made like millions of millions. It's not about that number. Never will be about that number. I'm trying to educate many people, even in our business, in our commodity, that number means nothing. What is the most important is how much will be left after you pay for production, design, development. You pay royalties because you have to pay royalties from that. You pay off all the licensing costs. Some of the license cost from $200,000 to $450,000. So you have to invest $450,000 for the license before you start making any revenue. And so on. So it's not that not that simple. So yeah, and then people seeing these numbers, you think it's a great value and whatever. Again, realistically speaking, you make about 20% profit, maybe between the 15 and 20% profit at the end once you actually finish Kickstarter for the board games. The plastic is completely different because we make the plastic in house. And this is making sure that you calculated everything correctly. If your calculation is wrong and you miscalculate shipping or you miscalculate production, you're in a big trouble. And that's one of the reasons why so many companies are currently in a trouble. And Mythic, for instance, is a very good example. Is Mythic, right? So they collect money, they haven't released the product, it was taking the years to actually do it, so they use all that money to actually keep the workforce in the company, and then suddenly we don't have money and we have to go again, ask you to pay us. I mean, wow. Very bad planning, very bad understanding about the projects, very bad understanding about the money, in my opinion, and such. So yeah, and don't get me wrong, we're not perfect as well. We're not perfect. We've been up and down, left and right with all of our projects. Sometimes we spend more. Some of the projects we've made, haven't made any profit. Some of the projects we lost money. I mean, He-Man, it's the good example. So He-Man Fields of Eternia is one of the projects when we lost a lot of money. I think we lost 600 or 800,000 euros later because the project wasn't done on time. So the difference between you collect money, make production, and so on, so on. But we managed to do that, ship, out and forget about it, kind of, if you know what I mean. But the project is ticked, and now what we're getting back from this project is we have product, and when that product goes now to retail, so we will remake that money, or we will just regain that money back, but it will take a little bit more longer. So sometimes we have to invest in that. So yeah, the license are up, and yeah, that's how we work with that, and that's true. That's completely true story. Yeah, I hopeful that Archon can take projects like Homm3 in the future and do it completely in-house instead of using China. So as I mentioned, the other IP, it is the one which is gonna be made completely in-house. We have to make it in-house. Would we be able to make something like a board game, to the level of miniatures and everything else in Poland? This question is good, only because technologically, and this is not because we're not advanced, and this is because we are too advanced. Europe is too advanced in terms of regulations, right? We have some extremely, I won't swear here, but some extremely crazy regulations coming our way, and this is happening year after year after year, and more regulations are being built up, and manufacturing regulations. And that's one of the reasons why so many companies need to outsource stuff in China, because we're not allowed to make it in Europe. So if we want to make miniatures the way the Chinese manufacturer makes them, we have to add, it's a PVC material, but you have to add softeners to this material. So they call flattens, if I'm not using, I think it's a correct word, flattens. And the level of flattens you have to add it in, or the softeners you have to add it into the PVC material in order to actually make miniatures, is not allowed in Europe. So is there any alternative materials? I guess it is. Is anything that will be cheap enough to actually make miniatures? I don't think so. I really don't think so. So it's sad, but only in China you're allowed to use the materials to make miniatures, because in Europe they are not allowed, and that's it. And what I can say, would we be able to actually make something like that? Yes, but in a completely different process. So probably process where you will have to assemble miniatures. So like we make our miniatures from high-graded medical material, which is high-impact polystyrene, which is fully norminated, which is fully tested, and so on, so on, so on. Yeah. So that's what it is. But in terms of actually making miniatures for the board games, we were talking about several companies here in Poland. I mean, one of them is Awakened Realms. We had a chat with them about, making projects here in Poland, maybe at some point, to find a way of actually making, just in case, because there's other problem, huge problem with China, which is the political problem, right? Now, imagine now that the manufacturers from board games manufacturers moving their businesses out of China. They set up the businesses in Philippines. They are setting up businesses in India, and also they moving some businesses to Europe. Now, if you ask question like in an email why you're doing that, they will not tell you. But we had visitors a couple months ago from China, and we had a chat about that, and they said, look, everybody knows the reasons why we're actually moving businesses, but we cannot take this, we cannot say it out loud. And the elephant in the room is basically Taiwan. So if anything happened in Taiwan, just imagine that all the ships will be, embargoed and will be blocked. So no actually transport from China, which means that, you don't have a product. United States don't have a product, and Europe doesn't have a product. So it will just basically mean whoever's got the manufacturing in Europe or anything else, anywhere else, will have a product. So, and that actually happened during COVID. We had a massive number of customers coming to us. Please make miniatures, because we cannot get any product from China. We cannot sell nothing. We need product to sell to survive, right? And now everything calmed down a little bit, but now the situation with Ukraine and people seeing and talking more and more about the Taiwan, they saying, okay, you know what? We just have to think about us, about the businesses, about the Europe, making production back in Europe. So yeah. Okay, I'm talking political, I shouldn't, but that's the real story. That's the real story. So we have to also think about our own business. Now, in terms of paper content, we plan to make production in-house, but we have an alternative. There's a company in Poland which makes a paper content with the good price as well. So yeah. But thank you for this question. It's one of those questions I'm really happy to answer. Really happy to answer. Okay, just quickly, because I started talking about or maybe some questions. Let me just check some questions. Not with this update. I will be showing. You stay for the stay tuned for the Kickstarter updates. I know Patrick, which is the graphical from the graphical team, is actually finishing the book, and yeah, looks great. We plan to keep it up until probably couple months before shipping. That's the plan. I really want to give you that. You know, I only want to give you that game before Christmas. Okay. Kraken is sick. It is great model. It is great model. You will see in full spectrum, because that angle of render, yeah, it is like, you know, quick render. But I think when you see next to the other miniatures, the scale and everything, yeah. No 3D prints. We cannot give you those things. So if you ask for the 3D prints materials, we won't be able to actually provide you with. And because it's IP material, and we don't have in our thingy. No, not yet. Soon. Both, really both. I've got that thing. I've got that thing with because I started with Warhammer Fantasy Battles, right? That was my first war game, and it's shame it's actually. I mean, the old world is coming back, so that's great. Shame it disappeared. But for me, whenever I was actually in the need of buying miniatures, just before the business started, before we started this business, I was actually going on a GW website and looking for some miniatures. And every time when I was like, okay, I need some 40k because everybody plays 40k, I was like going to 40k and looking for them. No, let's go for the Warhammer Fantasy stuff. So yeah, but I like both equally, both really. And our own game even was the sci-fi, but I think the fantasy one seems to be having more options. I think the fantasy is better because you have so many great references you can based on the game system and everything else around it. When the sci-fi, you have to kind of, you know, imagine it, but it's difficult to imagine the future when you have so many things from the past, like, you know, you soldiers, you know, the bows and things like that, weapons, and you just add the magical properties and that's it. Right? So this is what fantasy actually drives in people, more in people, and resonate more in people. Yeah. Okay, so quickly here, timetable is, if you remember, we promised to start shipping a Rapids by 15th of July, and actually the shipping all is shipped. We've shipped everything from the Rapid shipping. This means that we are 15 days before due, and then what else? We're looking at April 2024. I think we can close this one in February, so we're looking about 2 months before projects due. So yeah, that's the current dates, and I'm a little bit worried still about that date in February, maybe more like March, because we have to get more people into cutting miniatures and models. So this means this engineering job, which for many people is very boring. But we need to get more people to actually get there with, you know, at least with the February target. So yeah, that is how where we are. As you might know, the projects which we have in house, we're very good at making them happen on time. Yeah. So the team was working on many arts for Deuslair. That's the weapon pack arts. These ones were done by Marcin. I think Marcin. Yes, I really like his style. It reminds me of the style of one of the artists we used to work with, and I really like it. Yeah, but that's Bartek's. That's for sure. Bartek, that's his style, and he's also great. So we did many, a few dozen of arts, and it's more to come. This is basically for for Deuslair. So the wordboarding styles. This is Krzysztof. The wordboarding for Deuslair is very important, like you can imagine. We need that for the future plans for this project. What else? Yeah, that's Krzysztof again. So I will flick through the arts quickly because I won't be talking much about them. I'm not anymore involved in the creative on that thing because I don't have the time for that, family. But I wish to have time to spend a little bit more on the creative aspect of that. But I'll be focused on the creative aspect for other stuff we have in mind. So the weapon pack, you have seen it. You have seen the weapon pack done in the concept above. And here we have a weapon pack actually sculpted. So you will be able to see. I can show you how they look. This is the scale of to 32mm model. I think we have all the weapon packs. By the way, there's a story about this model here. It was one of the models which meant to be in the Woodhaven pack, but we actually haven't done it. We're kind of a little bit scared to actually release that model, and now the sculptors just use this model for the scale references at the moment. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for the weapon packs, here is the other weapon pack, which is like to show. Excuse me. My voice was gone for a second. Yeah, so that's the scale, so you can see how much they will scale up. You can just stick them to the models to whenever you want. So you can basically that will give you some modularity you are looking for your characters, obviously. So the next project is Caves. So if you know, the Caves is a huge one. This is something I've been waiting personally for, because I know Caves were next on the list, and this picture was posted yesterday, I think, on our social media, a couple of days ago. And yes, we're going into a new territory. Okay, before we move to Caves, I just want to answer some questions. Promotion buildings for the Goblin love the look of that piece. Maybe with the next Encounters Kickstarter, which we have autos. Yeah, that's true. That bit about the manufacturing is yeah. I don't want to go too deep into it because I don't want to open any Pandora box. Oh yeah, so our team is there. So our team is actually at the CD Action Show. So CD Action Show, there will be a Heroes Might and Magic 3 Polish Championship, and we will have 2 tables set up as well, just to play the game through. So if you're there, just pop in. I think Shimon is there, Kamil is there. Yeah, Shimon and Kamil will be doing some demos. And that's correct. I'm saying both, but it's fantasy. You got me. It is fantasy. It is fantasy. it's easy to imagine fantasy. It's easy to work around it, right? Because what the fantasy does, it takes everything from the past, absolutely everything from the past, mixed together, adds something magical to it, and here you have. And it's much easier to people to convince into fantasy than, imagine future. God knows, nobody, people struggle to imagine what will happen next 10 years. Would you believe you will have in your pocket a phone which is as strong as your PC 20 years ago? Never. Absolutely never. Thank you. I will pass the feedback to the team. So the driver actually about that one. The driver is to scale. The driver of the vehicle is to scale. Whether the vehicle itself is to scale, I don't know. But what is very important is a playing piece for me. So we needed to make sure that the miniature itself is within the base size. Otherwise, we'll have a problem on a board, gaming board. But we managed to make sure that the driver is basically in scale. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. A full height, well, okay. Okay, that's a good question. Very good question. Unfortunately, the caves won't be stackable. Now, there is a reason for that. I'll show you something in what we have in mind. But they're not going to be stackable. I pushed on that one to be stackable, but to be honest, the team is kind of more artistic oriented and they know a little bit more than I, and we need to sacrifice this in order to actually make something much better. So that feature won't be there, but we have something as a replacement, kind of replacement. I'll show you in a sec. Yeah. I haven't seen it, to be honest. Is that on the Kickstarter? Maybe it is on the Kickstarter. So $200 for the game nowadays for 19 hours long campaign is a good deal. I personally think it's a good deal. Now, question is, are you going to really spend that 90 hours long campaign, or are you going to give up after 10, 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 1-2 hours? Because I think about it. Maybe I'm old-fashioned or something, but Kings of Average talks about that many times, about these big, huge projects that they're too big and too large, and in board games as well. I think so. I think as well. I would say maybe 80 to 90% of the games actually sits and just collect dust because they're too large to consume. It's like a plate. You're gonna get on the plate a huge meal, and you're only gonna eat half, and then okay, let's move on to something else because I won't be able to finish it. 90 hours long campaign is huge, and yeah. But I know there is a need for this kind of games as well when people really want to play campaigns, long campaigns, and yeah, we had an idea about this game I was mentioning to you guys, and this is what we're gonna be working anyway. And the first thing I was actually doing was trying to understand where that game will fit in. So what exactly we want to achieve. That's one of the points of actually getting the products out there. Are we really want to create a game which will be like 90 hours or 120 hours of campaign? Or do we want to create something between a board game which will last for 2 hours and a RPG session game which lasts forever even, but a little bit longer than 90 hours. I think we found the middle ground. Like we found a tiny spot where something like that wasn't done yet. So we just sit down, have a session, a kind of RPG session, but combined into just fighting in dungeons. Like you would say many board games do that. But something you can save your characters, something you can come back, easy to save your characters, easy to come back and play later on, or do different dungeons or do different missions, and all the dungeons will be generated randomly. And that session should last maximum 3 hours or 2 hours to 3 hours. So kind of, I would say Gloomhaven, but not as much like a huge campaign with side campaign elements, which, you know, go around here and although do those, let's even say it right, doing all this boring stuff. I mean, most of the excitement about playing the game and at least playing the RPG was hack and slash, right? Come on, we all waiting for this moment when Game Master will say to us, okay guys, the dungeons are open, let's get into it and let's kill those, you know, goblins and orcs. Yeah, this is where the fun starts. So that's what we want to use those tiny elements to, you know, make a game which will be focus on just the combat, leveling up, finding items, you know, customization of the items and such. All these funny things, and keep that boring stuff, traveling around the world and, you know, all that, whatever, to some other games. Yeah, but yeah, that's my two cents. Okay, thanks for the answering on stacking caves. Could we have some sort of the pillar supports pack that we could use below the terrain to raise it up? Okay. Okay. Kuba, please take a screenshot. Maybe this could be an alternative to what I was thinking about. Kuba, take a screenshot. I will have a chat with team about that. Thank you for that. I think this is a good idea. This is good, and this might help me with something which I was thinking about. So thank you for coming to that. Let me show you some things. We are working. This is only drafts. There's nothing. What you see here is not final whatsoever. It's just pure draft because we need that draft for the landing page. So we were looking at some organic walls of that level of organic. Yeah, sorry, my vocabulary is small, tiny. But anyway, the thing is, if we go for that elements or this type of elements, they wouldn't be able to stack them easily and freely. This idea about the columns, which allows me to actually build another layer, this is actually quite a good idea, and we could be thinking about that thing, and could be easy implementation. So maybe we can do that. So that's how the cave is going to look. Many of those things, as you mentioned, the organic ones, this is actually curved walls, just to show you what we might expect. And here we have only 3 themes. Yeah, themes. So that's the inside of the beast. And still, you're also going to have the stone elements, in order to actually make nice transition between those terrains. So you'll be able to actually set up those things and combine them into one continuous dungeon. And it won't be, you know, that much obvious, yeah, that transition between the one type of dungeon to another type of dungeon. Yeah, so I hope you like it. The landing page will be available, I hope, next week. That's what the team is telling me, next week, or maybe the next couple of weeks. So please sign up. I'll be posting that link as well here. Yeah. Okay, let's check some questions. Balancing between one shot campaign and such in the Game Master the player choice. Getting the right backup and awarding building is always the reason, looking for the people like yourself. Streets of Eternia FAQ Errata, it wasn't posted. If that wasn't posted, it should be posted. I know the release we have to postpone, and again, this is problem with manufacturer which delayed. I don't know why, really. They haven't given us any answer why it's delayed, the paper content, so we might be pushing and going somewhere else with that project for the future releases. But I think the expansion was delayed. in terms of FAQ errata, that should be up. That should be available on Board Game Geek at least and our page. If not, I will have a chat with my team on Monday. It's already 4 o'clock, so few of the guys actually left, so maybe I will have a chat with them on Monday about that. Hey, no problem. It's ask me anything. So if you have more question about the industry, I want to know what I think about it. I'm not always right. I'm sometimes, you know, obviously like everybody else, you know, that's my personal opinion based on experience and based on what I see out there. Some other people might think otherwise, but yeah, good to know at least what, you know, from different sources. But if you have more questions about the industry you want to know, I'm happy to answer those things. Will the corner of the out? Yeah, well, we have solution for that. We do have solution for that. Yes, we have solution for that. You see that corner here at the moment. However, we're also gonna have a smaller tiles. That's something new. I haven't showed you that one yet. So we will have the tiles which we called half tile. So it's gonna be enough to actually cover everything, and you won't see anything here. And that half tile actually allows you to create different corridors, different angle corridors. From that half tile, you'll be able to actually create a corridor which is a 45-degree corridor. So no more straight lines. And I'm talking too much. I'm just I'm selling everything now. Selling out everything. I shouldn't. But yeah. Okay, so you have answer about FAQ and a player aid for the feats of Eternia are ready. We will publish them next week, so you will get them next week. So that's for sure. Okay, it's 4 o'clock already. If you don't have any more questions, I will wait a few minutes just for the questions to come through. If you don't have any more questions, I will slowly disappear. Just to mention, I did mention that we're going to be on this trade show. There is also a trade show in Gen Con. We will be there demoing just the games. I think the heroes will be demoing there, and that's it. We don't have any plans to sell anything out there. So that is that. About caves, also we are slowly working to make a sample sprue. So we don't know sample sprue. And we don't know how to handle this, whether we're going to be adding sample sprue to every single backer from Deuslair, just to, you know, have them a little bit of feeling of what is coming, or we just only going to have this one for reviewers. We will see. We will see whether we still can actually load up you with additional sprues. Yeah. Can you please make the functional fantasy doors available again? We will do. We will do on the as I think next not Kickstarter, the next Pledge Manager we probably do. Also, there's a huge number of releases to be available in the next month from us. So that will be one of the updates I'm gonna be giving you in the next couple of weeks about what new is coming to retail, and Watch the Space may be one of those things will be available in retail. Yeah, have a good one as well. Have a good one as well. I have to be here tomorrow as well at work. Probably just a couple of hours on Sunday. Usually we work 7 days a week or work from home. But in general, when you're in the business, you just think 24/7. You work 24/7, really. But I need to be here just to do some things. I need to put my IT hat on and do some IT stuff. Yeah, so that's something I was thinking about. We will see how much it's gonna cost us to actually do that, and if this is reasonable, we will do this. Not really. So what I plan to do for the next update to show you a couple numbers and data, and also some other stuff. The data from playtestings which was happening during PerCon. We collected almost 80 surveys or 85 surveys, and they're quite good. So I think we have to go through them just to, you know, understand where we are with Homm3. I think so. I think so. You're gonna get emails, but also we will post on the social media, and I think in every single update from our previous Kickstarters, just to make sure that you are aware about it. QA, yes and no. So for the QA, it all depends on what we try to achieve. So like currently I need a QA for plastic injection, but I don't need a QA for manufacturing of plastic injection. I need a QA for a design sculpt, and the person between I need a person between a sculpting and cutting miniatures. That's what I need. I need somebody like that, and I need that QA to be there to tell both teams to understand how the model is cut, but then at the same time to say to the team of 3D sculpting team what is possible, what is not possible, and such. And that should make our life and work of cutting team much easier. So in terms of QA, yes. In terms of QA of board games, usually this QA is done by the people who are actually writing the game and working on the game. But then QA also is done externally. So, for instance, we used to work with, well, we're still going to work with Adam Baker. Adam Baker was one of the guys who work on several projects in Fantasy Flight games, and yeah, we try to get him, and he also do QA, but not only in the QA in a normal form of finding issues and such and playtesting stuff, but also in the same way of actually rewriting stuff and making sure everything is spot on. That would be that. For manufacturing, for QA, obviously everything is in engineering hands, so the engineers are responsible for QA and such. Right. Okay, so thank you. Have a nice weekend. I wish you a great weekend, and we're gonna be dialing in the next couple of weeks when we're gonna be talking about the heroes, when I will show you more stuff from caves, where maybe or just maybe I will be allowed to talk about the new licenses ruler, because there are 2 licenses, and yeah, so quite exciting time.